The Rise of Skywalker Screenwriter promises to answer that question. Who is Rey? That is the headline on this week's Force Friday show.
Yeah, Stephen, this one is coming in from Polygon, who would have thought, and as you did allude to, it is all about that long pondered question which has spanned multiple movies and multiple years. Who the hell is Rey? Is she Smee? Is she Darth Sidious? Is she some clone? Is she nobody?
Is she a nobody?
Is she has her parents in a pauper's grave on Jakku? Well, Chris Terrio, Stephen, who is one of the screenwriters on episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, is promised to answer that very question. He says, and I quote, it's a very long quote, so I'll have to have a drink after this, but he says, how can Rey become the spiritual heir to the Jedi? We kept coming back to who is Rey? And how can we give the most satisfying answer to that? Not only factually, because obviously people are interested in whether there's more to be learned of Rey's story. But more importantly, who is she as a character? How will she find the courage and will and inner strength to power and carry on what she's inherited? Stephen, what do you make of this? Do you look on with anticipation to December? We're not long away.
I thought you were going to ask me, John, do I care?
Yeah, well, I'll get to that as well. Are you anticipating this question being answered once and for all? Are you whelmed, underwhelmed, overwhelmed? Do you even give a shit? Any of the above?
In 2015 I did, John. I think we were all asking that question. We all thought she's definitely Han's. And then we moved into The Last Jedi just before that. She's definitely Obi-Wan's. And now we're moving into this film. I think we were actually asking the question during Rogue One as well, which had nothing to do with us.
Yeah, she muscles.
Yeah, well, there was a few people that did comment in our YouTube channel and in other, platforms that may have been a theory, but
Stephen, it's like the classic when Finn was introduced. Is he Lando Calrissian's son? And it's just ridiculous.
Wow.
Every time we see a black character, is he Lando? When we see a female character introduced, be it Kira, be it Jyn Erso, is she Rey's mother?
Yeah, they're all connected.
Maybe not. Maybe she is. Look, I may be wrong.
I think,
and if I'm
at this point, John, I'm just interested to see. I don't want to say I don't care. I would like to know the answer to it, obviously, like most Star Wars fans, but my biggest concern is the development of Rey as a character. Chris Terrill's talking about that.
Yes.
Over the last two films, a lot of people, I don't like to use the phrase the Mary Sue, is it you call it?
Yeah.
I'll wait till this trilogy is finished before I make my judgment, but what I do want to see is a bit more development in that character. I felt her development in the last two films hasn't moved at all. For when we were first introduced to her, I felt sympathy for the character in those first 20-30 minutes. I think it was probably at the point where the interrogation scene with Kylo Ren, when her mind was unlocked. Since that, she's been in that sort of state of mind, and that development hasn't really developed since then. And really, I want to see a more fleshed out character. I want to see her vulnerable. I want to see her afraid. I want to see her triumph at the end. But that's what I'm more concerned about, rather than who and where she's came from. I think we're beyond that now. I think they're going to answer it, but I think it should have been answered long ago. They set these things up, John, and then they really put themselves into a corner. Certainly JJ in this instance, because he wasn't anticipating coming back to this franchise after The Force Awakens, and he's a man that likes to set things up, so he's put himself in this position, so I don't have any sympathy for him, to be honest with you.
No, yeah, well, JJ was actually speaking recently, Stephen, it may have been last week, about how he was quite happy to keep some of the plot devices and points which were created by Rian Johnson in The Last Jedi. He says that he would have did the same if he was in his shoes. He totally understood the choices he'd made. He came in, he didn't want to just follow a preset route or plan that's been set up with JJ in The Force Awakens, so he could get on board with that, and he's not going to destroy all of that work. He's going to take some of that on board. So for also The Rise of Skywalker, I don't know what to make of that, what that means for Rey in this movie. I hope he does retcon what the hell was happening before. Saying that, I say that, Stephen, because I'm going to get into it in a minute. My actual theory may tie in beautifully with what Rian Johnson did in The Last Jedi, with that one scene where she falls down in Act 2 onto that little, I don't know what it was, cave if you like, and looks in the mirror and sees numerous versions of herself going back in a long line. Yes, clicks, and then they all click at the same time. And apparently the little gesture she makes is quite, that's quite important for cloning or something as well. There's something in there about that little gesture. She does something. Can't recall what the gesture is. I've not seen The Last Jedi in about 18 months or so. So maybe I'd have to go back and watch it, subject myself to those canto bite scenes and whatnot. I don't know, but we'll see. I don't know, perhaps not. Maybe for the Rise of Skywalker. But look, I'm giving off on a tangent. I'm doing it in Anthony Daniels again. I'll get back on board. You're absolutely right, Stephen. They say that in this article, not just the answering of her lineage, but figuratively who she is as a character, because we don't actually know much about Rey as a character. We've seen her superficially be the master of everything, really. She can fix things on the Millennium Falcon, fly it better than...
compressor.
Yeah, bypass the compressor. She can fly it better than Han ever could. She can... Well, I'm going to step back a little bit. She can't actually fight that well with a lightsaber. It's very clunky. It's not much art.
It's a bit like looking Empire Strikes Back.
It's a bit like George Harrison, these early guitar work as well, Stephen. Clunky. And then slowly, hopefully, she'll get a bit of elegance as we
by the time we got to Abbey Road, he was certainly a Mary Sue.
He was a Mary Sue, yes.
Or Gary
He's
Sue.
better than Clapton, some would say. Well, I would say. Don't know what other people would say. But yes, Stephen, look, I digress. I agree with you. I hope that she goes through something of a journey in this story that we're about to get in December. Hopefully we do see her have some peril, have some vulnerability, as you did say. Maybe get a limb chopped off at some point and maybe get it back towards it. Yeah, not her head, an arm or a hand. Yeah. We spoke about this previously, Stephen, fairly recently, I think. Maybe a few days back, maybe a week ago, I can't recall the exact time, but she's not been on a traditional heroic journey. When you see heroic journeys in Star Wars, they start off hopeful, they go out with youthful exuberance, and then they get a slap down and maybe some limb dismemberment. We've seen it with Anakin Skywalker. He lost 2 hands, then he lost his legs later on and his arms. Saw it with Luke, he lost his hand. He lost his uncle and his aunt, even though he hated them. So they had tragedy, and then they learnt and grew from it, and then ultimately triumphed at the end of the story. We've not seen that with Rey in this story, any of these movies, and I think that's because of the way it's been created
as well. And The Last Jedi, John, she was a match for Luke at one point, but
no, I'm not having that.
No, John, he was sort of holding back, but it portrayed her to be more powerful than she was, if you know what I mean.
I think in Ryan's defence, I will say, I think that's why he zoomed in when he was falling, just to show that he levitated, to show, look, he's not trying. Guy's incredibly powerful. He's letting her think she's triumphed. Try to teach her a lesson, perhaps, I don't know. But yeah, I just want to see her going on a journey. If we find out who her actual parents are, lineage is, then that's a Brucey bonus for me. As I was going to get into previously, I went off on a rambling tangent again. If I was to pick one theory I think's perhaps the truth, it is the clone theory. I think she's been cloned, whether it's by the Emperor or by some other nefarious or perhaps not so nefarious organisation. I think she's been cloned. There's multiple versions. Perhaps they've all been killed off and not quite worked. And then she's the proper version, the definitive clone, if you like.
Do you think she'll self-sacrifice herself?
She could, perhaps, but I think the sacrificing will probably fall to Kylo, sadly. Maybe both will sacrifice, and that will bring balance to the Force once and for all, Stephen, moving forward. But that wouldn't work so well going forward unless we're pinning all our hopes on Broom Boy from Canto Bight.
Episode 10.
Yeah, I don't know. But look, we'll see what happens. We'll see if Chris Terrell's good to his word. We'll see if JJ can finally close out something that he started. He always runs away after he rejuvenates the franchises. He's done it with Mission Impossible, done it with Star Trek.
Start something you can't finish,
JJ. Now he's having to finish it, so he started it. He can finish it. It's a big secret just now, as Ray has said herself. Classified, hopefully not so classified come the end. But look, Stephen, we'll move on to the next topic, because that's been a solid 9 minutes or so to the very next one, and it's again quite speculation heavy, if you'd like. It's all very, whatever the hell that chap's name, Mike Zero, and it's regarding another theory. Stephen, he's responding to, this is JJ incidentally, a Dark Rey twist theory. He says there are surprises along the way in short, but there is a longer quote. He says, I'd rather let that one lie. He's speaking to Empire, but I will say that the movie has a number of things that you wouldn't expect to have happen, and that you wouldn't expect certain characters to do. There are surprises along the way, and that's one of them, aka the Dark Ray theory. So, Stephen, do you think he's leading us down a merry little path like Dorothy Gale or whatever her name was in The Wizard of Oz?
Generic answer, John.
Yeah. Do you think there's
a lot of room and
any weight to
space? There's a lot of room and space. That might as well throw that in as well. And there's going to be some John Williams music in there as well. Stating the obvious. I don't know. I think this has been the question since obviously that trailer dropped, John. I didn't like it, to be honest with you. I hope it's some kind of a sequence or something like that.
The lightsaber was terrible.
Why would you have
awful.
it? Just the functionality, it just was.
Decapitation galore.
Yeah, as if a lightsaber wasn't bad enough. If we talked about this, John, you know, if lightsabers were a real thing, you know, they would be banned. They would be banned because
people are idiots.
Yeah, exactly. You know what people are like with hammers. So what would they be like with this thing? It's like a Swiss Army saber. I think it's a vision, John. That's what I think it is. There's something about the visuals as well. It just doesn't look right. Her head's too big. Her face is too small, and the hood is kind of up here.
It looks computer generated.
As if she's got a beehive, you know, hairdo. It just looks terrible.
She has got a big forehead, to be fair.
It's not that big though.
It's not that big. That's like
she should be in that band in the the cantina.
I can't recall what their name is. That's going to haunt me. I know the name, but it's left my brain. But she looks like a conehead, Stephen, for sure, in that trailer.
Yeah.
I think it's a complete. It's a false vision.
Fake news.
Yeah, it's fake news, to quote Trump. I think they're throwing us for a loop. Yeah. I'm not going to quote Trump again because that guy's not down a rabbit hole.
Nicolas Cage and Kick-Ass.
Yeah. But Stephen, I think it's fake. I think it's a vision, or maybe, I don't know, perhaps she's dreaming again and we're getting some strange perspective like Kylo was doing with Luke, telling her some pokey pies. It's very odd that you're right about the visually again. I was going to get into this as well though, Stephen, about the lightsaber. The fact that the saber does look like Kylo Ren's, it's quite distorted and broken looking. Could it be that it's Kylo Ren and they've perhaps done a whole Avengers Infinity War with the Hulk on Wakanda and they're maybe superimposing Rey's face on and try to do as a like a kipper? I don't know. What do you think of that?
I'm still trying to get my head around this lightsaber. Why is it like that? Why is there two bits coming out? What's the point? I don't get it. Honestly, I don't get the sort of advantage you have having that kind of a lightsaber. But I don't know, John. I think it's just a vision. I don't think it's Kylo Ren.
No.
I think it's just a vision. I think it's some kind of test or something like that. That's what I think it is.
Stephen, what I think will happen, joking aside, I think she will meet the Emperor at some point, and if perhaps not in physical realm, then perhaps mentally he will touch upon her psyche, if you like. And I think he will test her. He'll show her a vision of what she could be, much like what he said verbally to Luke, and obviously Vader. I think it was actually Vader that says it to Luke. Join me and we can together we'll rule the galaxy.
He didn't say that in front of Palpatine.
No, he didn't say that in front of the Emperor, no. But I think this will be similar. He's probably imparting some vision on her.
That's a conversation you have at a water cooler in the office.
Well,
when your boss is not around.
Well, was it on Endor?
Yeah.
Was it on? No, it was Cloud City, wasn't it? When he gets his hand. Funny enough, when he loses his hand.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is what it will be. It will be the Emperor testing her will, saying, "Look, if this happens, you'll be powerful, more powerful than you can ever imagine, like you did with Anakin before." And this is her giving a vision of what could happen. But ultimately, I think she'll look at that lightsaber, see that it doesn't make any sense on any level, and she will ultimately reject the advances of the Emperor, much like she rejected Kylo before, and she will be the ultimate goody two-shoes and end very much on the light side at the end. I think Disney are absolutely terrified, Stephen. There's not a chance in hell that they, J.J. Abrams, Kathleen Kennedy, will portray Rey as an evil character. A twist. I would love to see it, I have to say.
I think they should maybe have done it halfway through there.
No, but Stephen, I think this would be up there with the Empire Strikes Back in terms of twist. You are my father, I am your father, not you are my father. It would be on that level, I am your father. If she ultimately turns to the bad and Kylo flip-flops and goes good, it would throw everyone for a loop, and it would be the ultimate sort of a, what would you call it, perception switching, I don't know. There's a word for it. Your man Johnson used to say it all the time, where he was subverting expectations. I think that's what it was. I think that's what we'll see here. I think she will ultimately end good, but she will not turn bad because Disney are terrified of doing that, which is a shame. because it's what the fans would probably want. But Stephen,
The
if
Rise
you
of
get not much
Skywalker, the downfall of
yeah,
Lucasfilm,
well, the Rise of Skywalker, who's the only living Skywalker left after Leia passes away, and she has to because she can't carry the mantle.
No.
Technically, it is Ben Solo. He is the only one that's got Skywalker in him, unless Rey is revealed to be a Skywalker.
Yeah.
So it would make sense, the Rise of Skywalker, if it's not just
We
figuratively
might still
speaking.
see the Skywalkers coming back in Force.
Yeah, or it could just
Ghost form or
be a figurative sort of a new name for the Jedi. The Jedi dies like Luke wanted, and Skywalker is a new name for the Jedi.
I've got a really bad feeling about this.
Yeah, so have I. Stephen, I've got a bad feeling about a lot of things in Star Wars, but not this next theory though that's coming up. This is all about Kylo Ren. It's a fan theory being confirmed by J.J. Abrams. J.J.'s been speaking a whole lot about Star Wars, clearly. And it's all about his broken helmet, Stephen. Broken helmet, not broken. I don't know what that was. He's essentially said, Stephen, a lot of fans have been speculating that obviously he repaired his helmet. This is relating into the Japanese process of kintsugi. Kintsugi, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not Japanese, sadly. Wish I was. And it's essentially an ancient ceramics method of piecing things back together and accepting your past and your mistakes and your flaws. JJ says, having been masked but also fractured is a very intentional thing, like that classic Japanese process of taking ceramics and repairing them, and how the breaks in a way define the beauty of the piece as much as the original itself. As fractured as Ren is, the mask becomes a visual representation of that. There's something about that tells his history. His mask doesn't ultimately hide him, and his behaviour is revealed. Stephen, I think this is incredibly interesting, and I think it's quite revealing for where we're going with the character. The notion that he's not hiding this tantrum sort of
Could be, John.
He's a very misunderstood guy at times.
Yeah.
He's quite impulsive. I think this is him coming to terms with who he is as a person. He's finally settling into his skin, and that could go two ways. He could be finally accepting his past and perhaps being open to redemption, or it could be that he is just settling into the dark side figure that he is, and he's just going to be the ultimate bad going into the movie.
It could be J.J. Abrams is actually subconsciously or deliberately having a go at Ryan Johnson. I think he's picking up the broken pieces. Yeah. I don't know, trying to put them all back together again.
Didn't think of that.
I doubt it very much. I doubt it very much.
That works as well.
A lot of people would probably see it that way, that it's a sly dig at Ryan
Stephen,
Johnson.
I have to say, I think that is what it is on the surface.
It looks like, after the, I think it was the Last Jedi, wasn't it? Forget the past, or bury the past, or whatever it was. Kill the past.
Yeah, kill the
past. It's been used so many times. That's the very quote, John. I can tell I've not really seen that film a lot. I think the theory works on so many levels. As we know, George Lucas was such a fan of Japanese mythology, storytelling as well. Took a lot of inspiration from a lot of Kurosawa, I think, movies. Also, the mythology of Joseph Campbell, his theory on myths and stuff like that as well, was Lucas was very heavily inspired by. But you've only got to look at Vader's helmet. It's clearly a samurai model that he's based it on. I think some of the early sketches, even before Ralph McQuarrie was involved, some of the early sort of drawings you got that what Vader was going to look like was very much like
some models as well, samurai versions of Vader, and they're very cool.
They are drawn. It'd have been very interesting to see them being used in some other way, which we didn't get. We might get them somewhere down the line, those kind of styles. But I think it makes sense, John. If that's what if that's part of Japanese culture, and that's what they do, then it does make sense that they would take that inspiration. A lot of people probably were surprised to see that in the trailer, actually, that scene where he was repairing that helmet, but I don't think it was anything major. I think it probably raised a few eyebrows, that we were probably going to get a few fix-its in there from J.J. Abrams after episode 8. But I think it's interesting, John, but I do think there's some kind of sly dig in there from JJ as well.
Could very well be right, Stephen, but look, I'm just glad he's getting the helmet back, just from a purely audio perspective. The voice, when he's got that helmet on, it's magnificent. It was one of my favourite things from The Force Awakens, hearing Adam Driver's dulcet tones with that sort of I don't know what you'd call that, thing, the voice box in the helmet.
It was distorted.
Yeah,
it was
distorted,
heavily distorted, John. But I felt they overly distorted his film and his voice in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I felt that that scene in is that the throne room they call that?
Yeah.
With Snoke. I couldn't make a word out he was saying. It was almost like Christian Bale as Batman in The Dark Knight.
Where is she?
Yeah.
Where's you?
You know, it was just couldn't understand a word he was saying, and it was overly distorted. But as you said in The Force Awakens, I thought it was pretty cool. I thought his entrance was pretty cool as well with that helmet on. I get, Adam Driver's such a great actor, and a lot of people would argue we don't want to see such a great actor with those beautiful, looks that he has.
That magnificent cut of hair.
Yeah, those weird ears as well.
Very young looking chap though,
isn't he? He's got no
he?
lobes, but yeah, he is. But
he's in his
I would have
mid-30s.
preferred to have seen him revealed in the third one, like Sebastian Shaw was, but it wasn't to be. But that is what it is.
You're so right, Stephen.
Yeah.
To quote Kylo, right. You're so right.
Yeah, put him on board.
Put him on board indeed. Yeah, Stephen, look, final thing, I'll go off on another probably babbling tangent here to say that you're right, Stephen, about the inspiration of Star Wars from the original trilogy onwards, the samurai and also the Third Reich with the Nazis and their infatuation with lining up thousands upon thousands of soldiers, and just all these aspects of pop culture which have bled in. That's one of the things I always loved about Star Wars, the fact that it's set in a galaxy far, far away, clear science fiction setting, but it's got little things from the real world bleeding into there, and it's got that classic sort of a almost Disney-like story where you have the little farm boy whisked off, you've got the princess, ragamuffin, sort of a bad guy comes in, ultimately changes his ways. Bit of Tolkien in there as well. There's a whole lot of things getting in there. It's a great big melting pot, and it comes together beautifully. To quote Alan Partridge, we'll not go there, because that is not PC at all. Not back then and not now.
No.
But Stephen, I think it's fascinating. I think this ties back into the original trilogy, what George was doing, inspiration from the Middle East, East Asia, the Far East.
Middle Earth.
Middle Earth, yes. With this Japanese process, and I think I think you're right.
Saying J.J. Abrams is stealing more George Lucas?
Well, they keep going to the Middle East to film things in Tunisia and whatnot.
Yeah.
So Saudi Arabia, I think it was as well. United Arab Emirates, I think, for The Force Awakens. So they keep going there. But yeah, Stephen, I think you're right now. One level, I think it is a clear little sly dig at Rian Johnson. Just taking this helmet, what have you done with this beautiful helmet I created? You've smashed it. You says he looks like a man-child.
Known as, what have you done with that film?
Yeah.
What have you done with this franchise?
You've destroyed it. You've made him out to be a man-child with a helmet. You're wrong. I'm bringing it back. I liked it. I think there's a part of that in it. But I think, as I did say previously, clear inspiration from the original trilogy, Far Eastern sort of a culture and things. And just this process of kintsugi, the fact that it is him laying bare his personality. He doesn't care. He's not this sort of a guy. We've seen him hiding from General Hux and whatnot. His impulsiveness in front of Snoke. As soon as he came in, he was trying to stand up and be a little bit more serious. He's not giving a crap about that now. He's sort of the supreme leader. He's laying bare who he really is, and it can go, as I did say, two ways. He can either be saying, I'm comfortable in my skin, I'm out and out bad now, I'm going to be the main antagonist going forward till the end of the movie, and he's not been redeemed. Or it could be, it's just fine in the face of what he says, let the past die, kill it if you have to. I'm now embracing my past. Both of that's bleeding in. Maybe Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia, her archive footage will have a part to play in redeeming them, and he's still get good in them, like Vader before in the original trilogy, and again that'd tie back and bring all the saga together. I don't know, it's very interesting though. I like to see him utilising Far Eastern culture, because it's a magnificent part of the world with a rich history.
Yes.
So if you can bring that into Western civilization, then it's all good. And it's just cool to get the helmet back, as I did say, because he looks better with the helmet on. No offence to you, Adam.
He's more menacing, yeah.
He does look more menacing, and we're getting the Knights of Ren coming in. We actually seen photos of them recently, Stephen. First photo.
They've got names as well, John.
They've got names,
apparently, yeah.
and they all have helmets.
Yeah.
So it would look very stupid with him. No helmet, long, curly locks. They've all got helmets on, so you need that to make them look more menacing. For that big battle sequence, which was rumoured against Maz Kanata's pirates and Finn and Poe, which I dug myself in an almighty hole trying to describe 6-7 months ago. But look, Stephen, it's all Good, no matter what. I can't wait to see the movie, and I'm going to end the show on that note because I'm babbling incoherently. Unless you have something to add.
Absolutely nothing, John.
Well, that's going to round up this week's Force Friday show. What did you make of the multitude of theory-heavy topics we spoke about this week? Do you think Rey will have a past unveiled, a lineage unveiled? What do you think about that Kylo Ren Kintsugi? Is it Kintsugi, Kintsugi? Let us know down below in the comment section if you have anything to say. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. And me and Stephen will be back on Monday with MBE Movie News.